I'm back! And this is another installment of Back in the Day! Today we're going to talk about something that is near and dear to my heart. And, if you are a long time, if you've been with me since the beginning of this channel, I love old school gaming. I'm disenchanted with how a lot of new school gaming has lost, they focus on graphical spectacle without understanding the impact that a truly well-designed game can have without having to be a graphical spectacle. Now, this back in the day vid is going to be all about the feelings that are created by a well-designed game. In particular, one feeling, what I call the realization in a game when you realize that this game is much bigger and much more expansive than you originally thought. And all good games should have this. Now, sad to say, Sony never had this from their first-party IPs. But quite a few of their second-party IPs had this. And quite a few of their third-party IPs had this. Second and third-party IPs. Microsoft never had it in anything that they had, in my opinion. But Nintendo has consistently delivered this feeling. So, why don't you come with me down memory lane where I talk about the joy of realizing that this game is bigger, more expansive, it's deeper than you originally thought. Or, to put it crudely, the holy shit moment. Okay, I'm back, and it's time to talk about the holy shit moment. Now, you might ask yourself, what is the holy shit moment? Why is it important in gaming? The holy shit moment is when you realize that this game is better, bigger, deeper than you anticipated. For example, I haven't seen this in a lot of third-party games back in the day didn't really have this, but Nintendo games almost consistently delivered this. But there were some third-party games that had it. For example, in Chrono Trigger, when you go into the future and you see the Day of Lavos, okay, and you realize this game is bigger than I anticipated, okay. In Secret of Mana, when you get Pago, the flying dragon, you realize this game is bigger than I anticipated. Or you play, let's see, what's another good example of this? Third-party example. Oh, my mind is drawing a blank of Donkey Kong 64. From the beginning of that game, you realized, wow, this game, once you leave the Donkey Kong haven and you go out into the main part of the game, like DK Island, you realize this game is much bigger than I anticipated. Same thing with Conker's Bad Fur Day or Banjo-Kazooie, or, when you go into Super Mario 64 and you first defeat Bowser and you go into the basement and you realize there's more paintings in this building than I anticipated. You realize this game is bigger and has more stuff going on than you could possibly ever imagine. And I call this the holy shit moment. The SNES was rife with these. Like in Contra 3, aka Super Contra, you had to fight the first level when the Mode 7 airplane comes in and bombs the stage and turns everything into a napalmed hell, and you have to navigate your way through some tricky jumps and ledge climbing. You realize this game is deeper than anything you've seen before. And that's lovely. I mean, I wish more games had that today, but they don't. I mean, a lot of games now just rely on graphical spectacle. No real joy, no real, you know, skill. Just, well, it's got explosions and it's got 15,000 megapixels and it goes at 80 frames per second. I know those don't. I know there's no such thing as 80 frames per second, but you get what I'm saying. Okay, and that's, I mean, that's sad. It's sad that gaming has devolved to that point where very few developers still make games that have that holy shit moment. Well, you realize this game is bigger than I anticipated. And that's sad, because games should be fun, first and foremost. The gameplay should be tight and they should be fun. I mean, I'd rather play a last-gen game that's fun than a next-gen game that looks great, but it's a piece of shit. I mean, you know. So, in order to illustrate the best of the holy shit moment, I'm going to use an example from a game that I love dearly, and is one of my favorite games of all time. The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. Now, if you had played other Legend of Zelda games before then, you would have guessed that there was more going on than what you originally saw. But this was the first Legend of Zelda I ever played, and this was, or not the first I played, the first I beat and I knew what was going on while I played it. And, you know, you go through the 3 dungeons, you fight Aghanim, and he draws you into the Dark World, and you're like, oh my god. And then you're in the Dark World, you get a telepathic message from Sarasala, or Sarasala, whatever his name is, and you're like, you open your map, and you realize you've got this huge map with this crystal saying 1, which is the Fortress of Darkness, and you realize, this game is deeper than I anticipated. You know, good games should have that. Good games should have, you know, this game is bigger and deeper than I thought it could be. We don't see that in a lot of games today. We don't. We don't see that level of craftsmanship or design. And that's sad, because back in the day, that's all they had. I mean, the graphics were there too, but really, they had to use the graphics to complement the gameplay. Now, it's like, people use the graphics to make up for lack of gameplay. So, that brings this edition of Back in the Day to a close. I would advise you, as a gamer, to just go back and play some of the retro-style games that still hold up today, and realize that sometimes, that just because the graphics are better and the technology is more powerful, some things were much better back in the day. Have a good day. Until next time.